Max Q Productions presents The Sport of the Engineer by Gilles Messier, originally written and performed for the 2018 Winnipeg Fringe Theatre Festival, re-recorded for audio by the original cast.
Perhaps you don't know Johnny Brown, who sold the flowers and fruit. I stood him cause he used to make me laugh.
Oh, it's a lovely war. Who wouldn't be a soldier, eh? Oh, it's a shame to take the pay. Oh, it's a lovely war. What do we want with eggs?
Oh, enough, damn you. Let us have some peace.
When does a soldier grumble? When does he make a fuss? No one is...
Fuss? I'll show you a fuss.
What is going on in here?
Nothing, Doctor.
That's what I thought. This one's an interesting case. Dorothy Lawrence, 29, journalist. Arrested last week at the War Ministry in an agitated state. Paranoid delusional. Claims to have fought as a soldier during the war.
But I did fight in the war. I told you. 179th Tunnelling Company, 51st Division, Albert. Haven't you called the War Office? Or Sergeant Thomas Dunn. He'll tell you.
That's quite enough, Miss Lawrence. Violent mood swings. Has made numerous slanderous accusations against prominent members of society. No next of kin, never married. Sporadic employment history starting in 1916, including prostitution.
No, I never did anything of the sort.
Miss Lawrence, settle down. I'm sure you don't want another spell in the waistcoat. Tentative diagnosis, schizophrenia and manic depression, pointing to general hysteria. No treatment administered as of yet, but I'm recommending immediate intervention via hysterectomy and oophorectomy to relieve the worst of the mood swings. Anyway, moving on.
You know, everyone in here swears they ain't mad, and I believe most of them. But you are absolutely balmy. Fought in the trenches? We may have come far, love, but just because we got the vote don't make us Tommy Atkins.
I don't care what you think. It's true. And what would you know about it anyway?
All I know is Harry was a sapper in the war.
He was?
Oh, yes. Told me all about it in his letters. The tunnels and saps and mines and all that. He's back on the coalface now, you see. Bloody foreman won't even give him a day off to visit. Though I suppose if it means we've got a roof over our heads when I get out, I can't complain.
Well, if he's told you what it was like, surely you can see I'm telling the truth. Oh, if only I could find a copy of my book.
Well, good luck with that. They won't let us have so much as a newspaper in here. Oh, it will be lovely to get out. Say, have you seen that new picture, Ben-Hur?
No.
All the new girls on the ward have been raving about it. They say that Raymond Navarro's a real treat for the eyes. I'm sure when I get out, Harry will take me. Come on, let's have it then.
Have what?
Your tour in the trenches. I beat staring at the wall anyway. Or listening to your bloody singing.
But all right. Where to begin? Well, it was back in 1915. August, I think. Yes, Emmeline Pankhurst was holding a suffragist rally in Hyde Park.
My fellow women, it has been accepted among our ranks that we must, for the time being, turn from our noble struggle so we may turn ourselves fully to the struggle of the continent. that we must dampen the fires of our convictions so we may better keep the home fires burning. That we must stand not as women, but as Britons, so we may better stand behind our king and country. Now is not the time to pursue such frivolities as ours, while our brave men are dying on the fields of France and Belgium. That it is selfish, unpatriotic, treacherous, but I say the time has never been more right. For when the war is at last over, what then will they say? Not now. Have some respect for the boys returning home. Years will pass and then they will say, not now, Britain needs sons. Not now, Britain is prosperous. And so it will go on. For them will the time ever be right. Never. For them the time will never be right. For what women give the franchise would have let the warhawks roost in Westminster. What parliament had its benches filled with mothers.
What are you doing? Wait! Hey, get back here!
I don't know what made me think of it. Stealing that man's coat and hat like that. How on earth I thought it would work, I haven't the faintest. Though I suppose the fact that it did work says less about me and more about the caliber of bobbies to be found in this city. Of course, I was to learn much later on how very little it takes to fool the average man. Morning, Roger.
Morning. Good God, what happened to you?
No, haven't you heard? The Board of War Production is calling for women to wear men's clothes to free up factory space.
You were at that rally, weren't you?
I may have passed by.
Christ, Dorothy. I told you to stay away from that lot. Look, much as I sympathise with the cause, I can't have you getting locked up or getting your head bashed in.
I'm quite capable of taking care of myself, Roger, thank you.
Are you now? Well, then I suppose you had time to complete your actual assignment then. As I recall, you were supposed to be reporting on the East London Women's Club cigarette drive.
Oh, what's the point, Roger? What is there to say? Surrey Knitting Society sends wool socks to the boys. Woolwich Literary Society gathers magazines for the boys. Princess Mary sends Christmas gift box to the boys. It's always the same old story, and every day hundreds of young men get handed a white feather and flock to the colours to prove they're not cowards. And I'll wager not one of them knows what's really going on over there. They might as well be fighting Zulus with spears for all that gets past the censors. Have you seen the wounded arriving on the docks?
No, and neither should you. Look, we've been over this. I can't even get a male correspondent to the front. War Ministry is damn selective about this sort of thing.
Then hang the War Ministry. I speak French, and I've been told I'm quite fashionable. I'd blend in perfectly. Come on, Roger. A ferry ticket, a small stipend for expenses, a pittance. You'd make your investment back 1,000-fold.
If you're suggesting what I think you ought to be thrown in Curly Hatch. Honestly, I think that Mrs. Pankhurst has gotten to your head.
Well, everyone called Mrs. Pankhurst mad, and now look, we're well on our way to getting the vote. Come on, Roger. Have some courage. You'd be the first editor to bring back real stories from the front, raw and uncensored. Think of it, Roger. Fortune favours the bold.
For the last time, Dorothy, the answer is no. I don't want to hear about it again. Now, since you happen to be passing by that rally, you might as well type it up. What's this? Your resignation? Oh, don't be dramatic, Dorothy. Alright, you made your point. Look, there's a new munitions factory opening in Woolwich. Why don't you go report on that? Wait, you're not serious? Fine. Well, good luck finding someone else to hire you. You'll find most editors aren't nearly as progressive as I am.
Goodbye, Roger. And thank you. For everything, truly. I'll give you the first bit on my story when I get back.
Come on, Dorothy, you won't get 5 miles past Calais, not without a press pass.
Well, then we shall see what an ordinary English girl, without credentials or money, can do. Roger was right, of course. Until I found the Gazette, nobody would hire me. Not as anything more than a secretary, anyway. And even then, I only made enough to keep the flat. Now I had nothing. Back in my flat, I found a few things I could sell off. My typewriter, some of my nicer dresses, some china I'd inherited from my grandmother, a crucifix I'd been given by...
By who? Hey, are you all right?
Yes. Yes, I'm fine. Nobody. Someone from a long time ago. In the end, I had just enough for a ferry ticket, a bicycle, and a bag with a few provisions. 2 days later, I was crossing the Channel, bound for Boulogne. My plan was to join the voluntary aid detachment. Whether they made me a nurse, ward matron, or even a laundress, I would get closer to the front than any regular Englishwoman could. And fortune must have been smiling upon my endeavour, for who happened to be on that same ferry but Mrs. Emmeline Pankhurst herself? Mrs. Pankhurst? Dorothy Lawrence, may I?
Of course.
I wanted to say that was a brilliant speech you gave the other day in Hyde Park, but I thought for sure they were going to arrest you.
Oh, thank you. And oh, they did, believe me. But they never can hold us for long. The police have enough on their hands, what with rooting out German spies and whatnot.
Well, I hope you don't mind, but I'm actually with the London Gazette. I was meaning to interview you after the rally,
Oh,
but...
how wonderful! It's about time we had a woman's voice in the press. Something to cut through all that Rule Britannia bluster.
Oh, indeed. And just between you and me, Mrs. Pankhurst, I do believe I've the notion to do exactly that. You see, I'm actually on my way to the front to report on the war as it really is.
Really? How extraordinary.
I do believe it will cause a sensation. At least a dozen articles, I'm sure. And a book, of course.
My dear, why stop there? No, there shall be lectures, speaking tours, rallies. I guarantee you, if you succeed in this endeavour, you shall be more than just a mere journalist. You will be a rallying cry for our sisters, a regular Joan of Arc.
You don't think it too mad a venture?
My dear, I'm 57 years old. I have seen horrors in dissenters' prison few male convicts have endured. Whatever awaits you at the front, I'm certain you will prevail. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must go. I'm afraid sea travel doesn't agree with me.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Pankhurst. I'll send you a telegram as soon as I return, truly.
I look forward to it. Good luck, Miss Lawrence. Or, as the French say, bonne chance. Next. Name?
Dorothy Lawrence.
Occupation?
Journalist.
Medical experience? Nursing? Matron? Orderly?
No.
Domestic service experience? Housekeeping? Laundry?
No, I...
Can you cook?
Well, yes.
Industrial cooking experience? Restaurants? Invalid homes? Domestic kitchens?
No. But I'm a quick study. Whatever you have available, I'm sure I'll pick it up right away.
We're only taking experienced applicants at this time. Next, please.
I'm sure there must be something I can do. Please, I'm very keen to do my bit.
I'm sure you are. Next!
Well, it's as Robbie Burns said, the best laid plans of mice and men. I confess, at that moment I felt rather like a mouse. Small, unwanted, no home, no plan, and nowhere to go. Well, if a mouse I was, then a mouse I would be. After all, mice are quite good at scurrying into places they have no business being. VAD or no, I would get to the front, one way or another. "2 days later, I cycled out of Paris to that part of the war zone situated in those days 15 miles from the firing line. Any girl cyclist would have looked out of harmony with the wall's surroundings, but this particular girl cyclist would have looked inharmonious in any possible surroundings except primeval chaos. As I was that girl in question, I can make that statement. After a day's journey, I arrived in Kriel, a centre of manufacturing industry in the region. Through Kriel, the Germans had recently fought and passed out, but nothing suggested that fact. You would scarcely know there was a war on, if not for the throngs of poilus, as the French call their soldiers, crowding the place. Here I looked to find some little cafe that would put me up for the night.
Exercice pour défaire la poche. Mon citoyen leur fils, je le vois. On est perdu, ma belle.
Non, elle est bien à la bonne place.
Excusez-moi, mais j'essaie de trouver...
Elle est anglaise.
Quoi?
You're English.
Oh, yes. Good day to you all. Bonjour à vous too. I'm wondering if there's a room available, une chambre.
What you do here, English girl?
Tous les hommes anglais sont au front, elle vient trouver les vrais hommes.
He says all the Englishmen are at the front. You come to find the real men. You have found them, yes? Come, sit down, English girl.
Thank you. And actually, like I said, I'm looking for a room for the night. And to ask you all some questions, if you don't mind.
Question?
Yes, I'm a reporter. Journaliste?
J'en pense. Une espionne?
Si les Boches envoient des espionnes comme ça, on perdrait la guerre, hein?
We have many rooms. You can ask us what you like. I'm sure you have many questions about French men.
On lutte au lit comme en bataille, hein?
No, there will be none of that, thank you.
Yes, sit down. We don't rush, huh? We have some wine first, then on to other things.
No, there will be no making love. Good day.
C'est vous deux. Un peu de chevalerie, oui? Sorry, mademoiselle. We will be gentlemen, oui?
Pardon, mademoiselle, c'était une blague. A joke, yes? Come, sit down. So, English girl, what is your name?
Dorothy.
Dorothy. Pierre, Paul, Jacques, and this is my wife, Jeanne.
Nice to meet you.
So, Dorothy, what you do in Kriel?
I'm here to report on the war, to see what it's really like. Actually, I'm trying to make my way to the front. Do you know how to get there?
Elle essaie de joindre le front.
Sous-estimer les femmes anglaises! Nous on fuit le front!
He says he is wrong about English girls. You try to go to the front, and we try to run away.
So, how long have you all been fighting?
Oh, we fight from the very start. When les Boches came over les frontières, from all over they call us. Marseille, Senlis, Boulogne. I would not even have uniforms then, just a rifle and Rosalie.
Jusqu'en 71.
1871? Goodness! Isn't he a bit old to be fighting?
Elle te trouve trop vieux pour être soldat.
Ah oui? Regarde! Ha! Ha! Hé là! Ha! Ha! Touché! Ha! Touché! Oh! Qui est trop vieux, là.
Et Paul, où allez-vous?
Bah, trouver une femme pour fuir le front avec moi!
You see, Dorothy, no one is too old to fight for his country, or too young, or too rich, or too poor. Pas vrai, Jacques? Take me, I am just a boulanger, how you say?
Baker.
Merci, chérie. Yes, a baker. Paul, he sells insurance in Albert. Him, a banker. Him, farms rabbits. And the children, they work in the fields, yes? And even our women, they work to send us food, to send us a few sous every month so we can have some pinard.
Des sous pour rester sourd, hein?
Ah, Monsieur Coupy, notre nouveau maire. Félicitations.
Ah, merci, messieurs. Juste un verre, ma belle.
What happened to the old mayor?
Frappé par un obus. Hit by a shell. Comme ça. Pouf.
Good way to go. Nothing left to bury, yes, but quick. I hope I won't be maimed. Die far rather.
Arrête de dire des choses comme ça.
Mais oui, ma petite. You think now that you'd love me just the same if I came home legless or armless. But think of it. Maimed. No. As years passed, you'd grow to feel I was a burden. Take it from us, Dorothy. The front is no place for even the best of men, much less beautiful women.
I appreciate your concern, but I'm afraid I've quite made up my mind. Now, if I wanted to reach the front from here, where would I go?
From here, let's see, closest would be Bethune. Oui, Bethune. But you will never get there. Not as an English girl. You need sauf-conduit, papers, yes?
And where would I get those?
Not here. Not without a uniform. But you know, we have many uniforms here. Maybe you would make un bon poilu.
What a queer idea. It's awfully clever. But I fear my accent would give me away. I suppose I'll just find a place to spend the night.
Très bien. Monsieur le maire,
Oui,
Cette jolie femme cherche une chambre pour la nuit. Pouvez l'aider?
bien sûr, mademoiselle. Venez, venez, je vais vous trouver quelque chose.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. And thank you to you all.
bonne chance, Dorothy.
Vrai genre d'arcade.
Come, mademoiselle, you can sleep in my office at l'hôtel de ville.
Monsieur le maire, why is only half the town damaged?
Oh, the Germans only wish to get through fast. Yes, that is always the way with les Boches. Vite, vite, vite. You see this bed frame here? All burned, yes? This was Madame Simoneau. 85 ans. She was, bedridden. When she would not move, les Boches poured kerosene on her and set her alight. Hélas, c'est la guerre.
C'est la guerre. From what I later gathered from the townsfolk, German behaviour varied between treatment of their civilian foes that would make Nero blush and the cold indifference of conquering hosts. Yet every French man and woman I encountered shrugged off such atrocities as one would an uncomfortably hot summer. C'est la guerre, and that explains everything.
Et voilà, mademoiselle. It is not much, but you will be out of the rain here.
No, it's perfect. I really can't thank you enough.
Oh, it is nothing, mademoiselle. Let me know if you need anything at all. Bonsoir.
Actually, monsieur le maire, there is one thing.
Oui?
I shall be leaving here tomorrow, for Calais. Perhaps you will give me a pass to train as far as Amiens. Then I can cycle on to Calais. It is a rather long cycle ride.
Bien sûr. Dorothy Lawrence.
Yes, with a W.
Ah, bien sûr, bien sûr. Lawrence. Cheveux blonds. Traveling where?
Calais. Via Bethune. Yes, I think I'll go that way, as I have friends there.
Ah oui. Par Bethune. Donc, Amiens, Bethune, Calais. C'est bien cela?
Yes, perfect.
Voilà. Bonsoir, Madame Laurence. Et bonne chance.
Oh, joy! I could have hugged the dear old thing. He had no idea that Bethune happened to be part of the front at the time. Pass in hand, the next morning I departed Criel and cycled out towards the firing line. Nothing could stop me now.
Arrêtez! Que faites-vous ici?
Voilà, mon sauf-conduit.
You're English?
Yes.
You're a nurse? A worker?
No, I'm just trying to...
You cannot be here. You must go back.
Oh, it's all right. I have permission to travel. There, you see, signed by the mayor of Criel.
No. What do you have in there?
Nothing, just a few things. No, wait, stop! What are you doing? No, don't!
Why you come here?
As I was trying to say, I'm on my way to Calais, back to England. I have friends in Bethune.
Ah, you go the wrong way. Bethune is the front. Fastest to Calais is Amiens, you see? Voilà. Allez-y. And stay on that road, yes?
Playing the good little tourist, I proceeded, as instructed, to Amiens. But during my brief visit, the gendarme became very active on my behalf. I passed about half my time under arrest of regaining freedom. If I cycled 2 miles out, I was promptly arrested and brought back again. In the whole list of French officials, no one renders truer services than the gendarme. Spies! Why, he seemed to sleep with that word written on his brain.
You cannot stay here. You must go back to Paris.
But I must get to Bethune. I have friends waiting there.
No. Go back to Paris, you will be arrested as a spy. Now go!
Of course, I had not the slightest intention of obeying. I became, instead, a nomad, tramping out for the forests in the outskirts of Senlis. How silent it was that night. A silence quite alien to me, who slept all her life among the constant hum and bustle of the city. A solid, palpable silence, cold and hard as a sheet of glass. I could not sleep. Oh, the cold! Never shall I forget how intensely cold those nights can be, those nights that follow hot summer days. I could take it no longer. Packing up camp, I wandered through the forest until at last I emerged into a moonlit field, dotted with haystacks, resting after a good day's harvest. Oh, the buzzing that went on in that haystack! I did not sleep one moment, and by dawn had become one great mass of swollen insect bites. Unable to face another such night in the forest, and with my path blocked by ever-vigilant gendarmes, I resolved at last to return to Paris. There I hoped, perhaps, that further opportunities might arise for getting out there.
What? That's it? You mucked about in the forest for some Frenchies? Fought in the trenches, my foot.
What? No, I haven't gotten there yet. I've barely gotten started.
Well, I take it back then. If this goes on much longer, you can start singing again. My Airy might not have had all your fancy words, but he at least knows how to keep a story short and sweet.
No, please. It gets better, I promise.
All right, go on then.
In August 1915, the city of Paris was no longer in a state of paralysis. Never had those wonderful boulevards appeared fuller with martial splendour than when, in the scorching heat of summer, khaki lads, side by side with blue-uniformed French troops, spent their brief leaves sitting outside cafes. It was the perfect hunting ground, for you see, on the train from Creil, I became possessed by the most peculiar notion, inspired by my Poilu friend's offhanded joke. By the time I arrived in Paris, this seed of an idea had sprouted into a full-fledged plan. And no sooner had I stepped off the train than I set out in search of accomplices.
If you want to find the private, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the private, I know where he is. He's hanging on the old barbed wire.
Hello, boys.
Well, hello yourself.
Where are you gentlemen off to this fine day?
Hey, she speaks mighty good English for a French girl, eh? Bonjour, mesdames.
Don't bonjour me. I'm English.
Well, what do you know? Where you from then, miss?
Hendon.
Ha! Enfield. Shortridge pals ourselves.
Carry a piece of home with us, and it gives Fritz hell.
Oh, a real sight for sore eyes to see an English girl out here.
And a sound for sore ears, too. A little slice of home.
Well, perhaps you gentlemen would like a glass of wine to go with it.
All right.
Topsy-turvy this war, ain't it? Got ladies buying us drinks.
You reckon that means she'll cost us more?
Shh, it ain't polite.
So, been in Paris long?
Just got in today. Week's leave.
Oh, I can't imagine that's much comfort after months in the trenches.
Oh, we don't stay in the trenches that long.
Oh, no?
They rotate us out a week at a time. In reserve, training, rest camp, leave.
Still, when we are in the thick of it, those weeks can be awful long.
Well, what shall we toast to? To Paris?
And to many pleasures. Speaking of which, I was thinking we could get the particulars out of the way first.
What are you doing? I told you it ain't polite.
Oh, come on. She's a businesswoman, ain't she? It's just business.
I'm sorry, what is this?
Oh, well, if you don't mind, miss, how much?
What?
You know, for afterwards. How much?
We've got our own rooms at the Hotel St. Jan if...
I think there's been some misunderstanding. I'm not... Well, how dare you?
Wait, you're not...
Oh, God, sorry, miss. We thought...
You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. What would your wives think? Or your commanding officer, for that matter. I've half a mind to write him about your disgraceful conduct.
We are sorry, miss. Truly.
Yes, I'm sure you are. Good day, gentlemen.
Oh, wait, miss, please, don't! Look, we'll make it up to you, yeah? Anything you want.
Anything?
Name it.
Very well, then. But only if you agree not to question what I ask of you.
All right.
I'm trying to get to the front, as a soldier, right into the firing line. Can you help me?
What?
I should like to find out what trench life is like for myself. So, can you help me or not?
All right. What'd you need?
Well, the first necessity is a uniform, I should think. Surely you must have hundreds about.
That we do, miss.
Well, what did you have in mind?
The least that will let me move freely about the line.
No webbing, then. A shirt, trousers, tunic, boots, puttees, braces, and a cap. Easy.
Yeah, but you're gonna need papers too. Paybook, identity discs and such.
Oh dear. How might I go about getting those?
Oh, not a problem, miss. I know a bloke. The real problem is getting you that uniform. It'd look mighty queer giving something like that to some English lady.
Hang on. We'll just hide it in our washing. If you don't say a word, miss, they'll just think you're some French washerwoman.
There are worse things to be mistaken for. Well then, here's to masquerades.
I'm following in Father's footsteps, sung by Miss Vesta Tilley, Edison Records.
And so began my journey from simple English girl to khaki-clad Tommy. In this, my khaki accomplices proved most invaluable. In return, I paid them back as best I could, providing what hospitality I could from my swiftly dwindling purse. In the meantime, I set about shaping my rather robust figure into something approaching masculine slimness, which I accomplished by wrapping myself in bandages like a mummy. Then came the task of actually donning the uniform. Have you ever attempted to incline trousers in the way that they should go on a female figure? They do not know the way. And suddenly you realize neither do you. It was thus I was left to grapple alone with an unfamiliar array of strange tabs, buttons, and buckles. The wrapping of puttees is an art in itself. But by fits and starts, at last I managed it. Then, of course, came the greatest sacrifice.
Are you sure about this, miss? He's a lovely head of hair.
Cut away! I was quite proud of the final effect. Here stood a slightly plump English boy, no older than 18, quite innocuous among the ranks of youth marching daily to the front. I'd always been told I had a rather boyish face. Bishop Wallace said so, Anyway, as convincing as my outfit was, it takes more than a uniform to make a soldier.
Private, quick, march. Private, halt. No, always end on the left foot, like this. Try it again. Private, quick, march. Private, halt. No stomping, we're not bloody Fritz. Right, turn. Order, arms. At ease. Stand easy.
So, how's she doing?
She'll pass muster, I think.
Not with that lily white face, she won't. Here, Condy's fluid. We'll use it against trench foot. Should give you a proper man's complexion.
Oh, good idea.
Oh, and don't forget these. Paybook, identity discs.
Private Dennis Smith. Well, you couldn't have picked a blander name.
What, I thought you'd want to keep a low profile. Nothing like having a name that'll slip out of the sentry's head as soon as he's heard it.
Well, I really don't know how to thank you both.
No need, miss.
Well, we don't mind helping you out. You won't get close enough to be in any danger.
Well, I don't imagine I'll be getting anywhere without some sort of pass. I don't imagine they just let soldiers wander about willy-nilly.
Way ahead of you, miss. This should get you just about anywhere.
There. All set.
Best of luck, miss.
And with that, Dorothy Lawrence remained in Paris, while Private Dennis Smith, 1st Leicestershires, set forth for the front. For the second time, I headed into the unknown, but this time I was certain. Come cold or stinging insects, MPs or gendarmes, sentries or German guns, I would make it to no woman's land. It was a few miles outside of Albert that the first true sign of war appeared, the quiet grave of a British soldier, standing alone amid the corn. Later, I would see rows upon rows of these crosses, stretching over endless fields, but none stuck so poignantly in my mind as this lone grave. Glut of sorrow brings surfeit. Perhaps that is why single figures of pain, seen in this great war, stamp on the mind indelible marks vast crowds fail to make.
I'm sure an angel's looking out for my Harry. No Hun bullet ever cut him, no man. Bloody miracle, I says. Well, go on then. I bet they caught you out the moment you reached the line. What with that voice of yours?
Well, actually, it's a miracle they didn't. I suppose one meets all sorts on the front, so even a pudgy, high-voiced lad such as I made could pass unnoticed. Well, almost unnoticed. The town of Albert was so very much the front as to be forbidden ground to either war correspondents or nurses. Its rubble-choked streets were a hive of activity, jostling with men and material of all description, milling about with the frantic urgency of an anthill kicked over by some naughty schoolboy. And looming over this chaos, there balanced the famous figure of the Virgin atop Albert Cathedral, dislodged by shells, so she hung face down over the earth.
Quite a sight, ain't she, old Fanny?
Fanny?
Fanny Durack. It's what the Aussies call her. Some Olympic swimmer of theirs. Got to admit, though, she does look like she's about to hit the water, doesn't she?
Oh yes, now that you mention it.
Only a matter of time before she comes down, though.
Why is that?
What? You've never heard of the Virgin before? Blokes round here say, whoever knocks her down loses the war. Thing is, Fritz figures just the opposite. So you guess what he's aiming at during enemy hate.
What's enemy hate?
Stick round here long enough and you'll find out.
Oh, wait! I'm trying to rejoin my unit in Amiens, but I can't get there before sundown. Can I stay with you tonight?
Sorry, our dugout's full. You should talk to the lieutenant. He'll sort you out.
Excuse me, I'm trying to find a dugout for the night. You see, my unit's in Amiens, and I can't make it until...
What is the matter with you? Salute, Private!
Sorry, sir.
That's better. Now, what is it?
Well, you see, sir, I just need to find a dugout for the night. I'll rejoin my unit tomorrow.
What unit is that? Come on, let's have your paybook. Private Dennis Smith has leave to be absent from his quarters from 16 August to 23 August on special business. Special business? What special business is that?
It's, classified. Business from HQ.
Is it now? Can't recall ever seeing classified business given to a raw recruit. Is this your signature here? Or one of your mates? Thought so. Well, Private Dennis Smith, what happened to the poor lad you stole these papers from? Fine by me. You can do all your talking at headquarters.
Whoa, no need for that, sir. He's with me.
You know him?
Oh, aye. He's my kid cousin. A distant cousin.
He doesn't sound like any Leicester man I've ever met. Or any supper, for that matter.
Well, he just transferred over. Never mind him, sir. He's just a lad. Hasn't learned the ropes yet.
Fine. Let's get him out of here.
Sir, come along now.
Thank you for that. You came just in the nick of time.
That's no bother. Just because they call us moles doesn't mean we're blind. Still, I would have given him another minute till they figured you out.
Oh, I'm not a deserter, if that's what you think. I was just looking for a place to...
It's all right. Your secret's safe with me, miss.
How? How did you...
First I laid eyes on you and I knew something was off. First off, you seem too short for a regular Tommy and I knew you ain't one of us. So then I starts following you, and as soon as I see you start talking with that big old lieutenant over there, well, I knew what was up. You done a fine job looking like a bloke, ma'am, but you sure don't sound like one.
One of you?
Sappers, miss. Engineers. Go anywhere, do anything type men. One day fixing a trench, the next digging a well, another laying a mine. Name's Tom Dunn.
Dorothy Oh!
I watch it now.
Yes, sorry. Well, I suppose you can call me Dennis Smith, then.
Well, Dennis Smith, you're a right strange sight, can't lie about that. What are you doing all the way out here?
Actually, I'm a journalist. I've come to cover the war, see what life is really like on the front.
Have you then? Oh, you've come to the right place for that. You have no idea how much danger you're in. We don't get you undercover in a few hours, you get a proper taste of what it's like, I guarantee.
Oh, you know a dugout I can stay in, then?
That won't do you no good. If I could spot you from 50 yards away, the lads in there'll sniff you out in no time. No, you're coming with me. Well, come on, I ain't turning you in. I seen the sort of girl you are. You're not bad, and you're a lady. Now, I ain't no better than the rest of them, but all the same, I ain't gonna harm any girl. I'll help you.
Ah, here you are. These cottages haven't been lived in for quite some time. No one comes around here much no more. It's not much, but it'll have to do, I'm afraid.
No, this will do quite nicely. Thank you.
Right. Well, I must be off now. Stay put, keep quiet till the excitement dies down. I know where you are, so as soon as I'm off duty, I'll be back.
I was not merely being polite to my new khaki friend. One could not have asked for a better hiding place. A tall stone wall separated the cottage from the main road, so I could not be seen, and the cellar furnished an ideal priest hole into which I could scurry, into my supper. I could scarcely believe it. I was here. I had made it to the front.
Dot? Where are you?
Down here, in the cellar.
What are you doing down there?
With the shelling.
Oh, no need to worry about that. They're not aiming for you. Just a lot of noise and bother is all.
Noise and bother is one way of putting it.
Here, brought you some breakfast.
Oh, lovely. I'm famished, you've no idea.
Oh, here, put these on too. Royal Engineer badges. That one goes on the cap, and put these two on the shoulders. Go ahead, put them on, so I can vouch for you proper.
Ah, perfect.
Ah, you fell in with the right lot, that's for sure. We sappers ain't on the same schedule as the rest of the lads. We can come and go as we please.
When do you go back on duty?
0800, about 2 hours.
Oh, good. Plenty of time to get into uniform.
Uniform? What for?
Well, to go on duty, of course.
Now, don't be silly, Dot.
But what about...
That's just if someone comes asking for you. Last resort. Now, you'd best stay here. Trenches ain't no place for a lady.
Well, strictly speaking, neither is this, yet here I am. I've cycled all this way from Paris and slept in the beastliest places imaginable. Whatever's in those trenches, I can assure you I'm up to it.
I'm sure you are, Dot, but I got a job to do just like the rest of us have. Can't be looking after you all the time. And I don't want to be responsible for you if you, well, you know.
Oh, you can't be serious. Well, what am I to do here all day? Needlepoint?
I don't know, Dot. You can't come with me. You're just gonna get in the way. Sorry, but that's how it is. Just sit tight. I'll be back round dinner.
So, sappers can come and go as they like. Wander at liberty.
Yeah?
And you aren't bothered by the regular officers?
No, not unless it's urgent. Why?
So, suppose I were to put on my uniform with these badges, and suppose I needed some air and, oh, I don't know, decided to go for a stroll. Now, suppose on that stroll a stray German shell were to find me, or say, a Maxim bullet. Well, I suppose you'd feel it quite a shame you'd left me here rather than keep me close by.
All right.
Give me a hand, will you, Tommy? For the life of me, I still can't figure out these puttees.
Schedule's pretty simple. 0700 is stand 2. They stand on the fire step to see what Fritz is up to that morning. They like to send raids in at dusk and dawn, you see. Then at 0800, it's turn out for inspection. 0830 is breakfast, then from 0900 to 1800, work detail. Then dinner, then stand 2 again. Then resupply detail once it gets dark and Fritz can't see us. Then sleep, unless of course you're on sentry duty.
And, when do you fight the enemy?
Only when there's a big attack planned. Oh, we'll send a barrage or two, or a few shots of 303 during the morning night. There's trench raids too, but it's mostly quiet around here.
Trench raids?
Nothing to worry about. They usually only make it as far as the fire trench.
This isn't the fire trench.
No, this is the 3rd Reserve Trench. Fire trench is 100 yards that way.
Goodness, what a labyrinth.
Well, you can thank a sapper for all this. We built a whole city underground, with everything we could ever need. There's messes, aid stations, telephones, latrine. Hey, get down! Snipers! They like to hide out in no man's land, Dot.
The balloon's going up! What does that mean?
Means we better get underground fast. Come on.
Down in the tunnel, I entered a different war, a secret war, a war of moles. Stretching out beneath no man's land lay a vast warren of shafts, drifts, and saps, the realm of the sapper. They came from all over, coal miners from the north, engineers from Manchester, men who had dug the London sewers and underground. Down in their underground kingdom they toiled with singular purpose. To tunnel under the German trenches and there plant thousands of pounds of explosives to be set off just prior to an attack. In an instant, without warning, hundreds of enemy soldiers would be blown to atoms. It was a ghastly business, for the sappers no less than their quarry. In those cramped, airless tunnels, one could scarcely breathe, and the slightest exertion produced spells of dizziness. But it was no place for haste, for this was a silent war. The enemy was listening, and the slightest sound could spell quick death. On it went, day and night, this game of blind cat and mouse deep beneath the earth.
Shh.
What is it, Fritz?
I don't know. Hand me those geophones. Get out. All of you, get out.
Right. Come on.
My last glimpse as we retreated up the tunnel was of Tom, crouched before the mine face, revolver at the ready. For many long, agonizing minutes we waited at the head of the tunnel, listening for the telltale sounds of a breakthrough, or of a countermine sprung by the intruding German sappers. But, in the end, we heard nothing but footsteps as Tom at last made his way to the surface.
Oh, that was a close one. Wow. You're right there, Dennis?
Yes, I'm all right, just...
Okay, there we go. There, home sweet home. You alright there, Dot?
Yes, I'm all right. I just have the most atrocious headache.
Aye, that'd be the white damp.
White damp?
Monoxide from the candles and the cordite. sleeps down into the saps. It's all right, it'll clear up soon enough.
What are you watching for?
Oh, nothing. Just some lads coming over, that's all.
What? Coming here?
Don't worry, Dot. They're good lads, I won't tattle.
Are you sure?
Trust me. Here they come. Hey, do something for me, all right? Don't show yourself straight off. Let's have a little fun with them, yeah?
You know, I really can't blame old Fritz for invading, what with all this lovely nectar lying about.
Where the hell did you get all that?
The house across from our billet. The cellars are regular Aladdin's cave.
Ain't that reserved for officers? How did you...
You weren't joking about Stoker here. He's a right proper mole. Straight across the road, 100 yards in 6 hours flat. In and out like that. Even backfilled the sap. The General's Batman will be scratching his head when he can't find his favourite Madeira.
Ho, for a public school ponce. You're right, dirty thief you are.
Gentleman thief, thank you. Only the best from the best. So, what shall we drink to? How about... Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. Who's your friend?
That's me cousin Dennis. Just deployed from Chatham. Dennis, this here's Richard Cox, and that there's Harry Stoker.
Yup, me duck. Christ, they're sending them young now, aren't they? So we'll be pushing them over the top in khaki-covered prams. How old are you, Dennis?
18.
How do you like Chatham, eh? Norton Griffiths up to his usual tricks? What mess they put you in? Not a big talker, your cousin.
We Leicesters don't like to talk much. We prefer to get the job done, ain't that right, Harry?
Aye.
Well, welcome to Albert. Here's to family reunions. And here's to good old Fritz. May he always dig so loudly.
Stop it. It ain't respectful.
Oh, come on. Gone soft for Fritz, have you? Serves them right, I say. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist by his own petard, and shall go hard. But I will delve 1 yard below their minds and blow them at the moon.
You write that?
God, no. That's Shakespeare. Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 4.
Perks of a public school education. You can quote Shakespeare where you're getting blown to bits.
Hey, if it weren't for my public school math, Stoker would have missed that cellar by a mile.
Oh, we learned plenty of maths down in the army, don't we, Harry? Like how many rats does it take to fill a dugout?
Aye, or how many fleas in a tunic?
Or how much you can water down that rum and still call it grog?
How bad they can make this McConaughey stew and still call it food. Christ, it's like they dredged the Thames and canned it. I think that's the best for Kitchener's, boys.
Oh, what? Bit of a step down from roast mutton and eating?
Well, I'm sure Stoker's happy. Step up from his wife's cooking, I'll wager.
Shut it.
Last Christmas, you see. She tries to send him a mince pie. By post. Well, by the time it gets here, I don't know what Fritz gassed us with at Wipers, but I'll wager it was a tad sight more pleasant.
I said shut it.
Anyway, Tommy, that business back in BSAP. Christ, you must have ice water in your veins.
Weren't nothing but luck. I ain't half as good as you on the geophones.
Still, nothing gets past an RE, man.
Go ahead then, Dennis.
Where are you off to?
Latrine.
So what's wrong with him then? Too much creosote in the water in Leicester?
Leave him alone, will ya? It's his first day. Reckon yours put the spin on your head too.
Oh, come on, Tommy. No need to be proud. There's something off about him. Trust me, I have a nose for these kinds of things. Nothing gets past an RE man.
Lads, meet Dorothy.
Tom, have you gone mad? Hiding a camp follower out here? I mean, it's a clever job and all,
She
but...
ain't no camp follower. She's a reporter, come to tell our side of the war.
Dorothy Lawrence, how do you do?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Sorry, let me get this straight. You came all the way out here, from England, dressed like that.
Well, only as far as from Paris, actually.
To report on the war.
Naturally.
Well, thought I'd seen everything in this damned war. But this takes the prize. You win, Tommy. Here's to surprises.
Come on, share it round.
Right. Oh, you'll be wanting some champagne, I wager. I think I have some here.
Actually, I could use something stronger. It's been an awfully long day.
Dot's been down in BSAP with us all shift. Bagging spoil.
You're joking. Well, all right then. Cheers. Here's to more spunk than the rest of us combined. So, what on earth possessed you to come all the way out here? Hear the voice of God like Joan of Arc?
Yeah, come till he dissed the victory again.
Again? Joan of Arc fought for the French.
Well, she didn't. She's English.
She most certainly was not. Siege of Orleans, 1428. Best stick to swinging a pick, Harry. Leave the history to the experts.
Well, even if she was, Frenchies are on our side now.
He's got you there, Dick.
So, Dick, did you really go to Eton?
Yes, indeed. Class of 1910.
What on earth are you doing here? Shouldn't you be an officer?
Oh yes, old man made damn sure of that. Bought me the whole lot. Red tabs, brass buttons, sabre, nice staff posting away from the front. Then our footman, you see, Christopher. Oh, bless his soul, he joined up. Got the telegram 3 months later. Bought it at Artois. And the butler, and the driver. All the domestics. The men, anyway. Didn't seem right, you know? The old man was furious, of course, but...
And what about you, Tommy? Surely coal mining must be considered vital war work.
That it is. But I reckon half the diggers in Leicester now are under colours. I don't know. The pay was good. They said we wouldn't be digging coal. But now Harry, there's a lad who could have stayed home. Regular Mo, him outdigs the rest of us by half. Foreman was begging him not to ship off. I mean, he offered you triple time down, didn't he, Harry?
So why did you join up, Harry?
Just wanted to do my bit, I guess.
Oh, don't bother trying to get more than 5 words out of him. I'll have more luck getting a blood out of a stone, gaining a foot of ground out here. So, Miss Lawrence, how long will you be staying with us?
As long as I can, I should think. Long enough to learn all I can about the front.
Oh, one day down in hell with us demons will teach you all you need to know about this place. I imagine you'll be staying above ground from now on.
Well, actually...
Come on, Doc. You've had your fun, but like I said, we've got a job to do. You best stay here until you're ready to go. We can get you anything you need. Ain't that right, lads?
Thank you, Tommy, but I'm perfectly up to the task. I think I proved that today.
And your fainting spell back there?
Oh, I just need to get used to the air down there, that's all. I'm sure I'll be fine next time.
Well, here's to death wishes.
He's not wrong, you know. You do have a bloody death wish. My Airy would have given anything to get out of there as easily as you could have.
Yes, I suppose so. My dresses and petticoats were still bundled up on my bicycle. At any moment, I could have shed the uniform, and I would have been free to turn back. Say what you will of the trials and tribulations facing the fairer sex, it is not we who are bound by honour and duty to lay down our lives and march into the inferno. To do that, we must go to great lengths indeed. I know I shouldn't have gone back down there, but I'm afraid curiosity got the better of me. The moment I arrived at the mine face, Tom did his utmost to send me away. But such was the need for silence that he could not risk the commotion, and so we fell back into our usual rhythm. Tom picking away at the chalk with a bayonet, Dick catching the falling spoil, and I placing it in sandbags for Harry to run up the tunnel on a little wooden tram. So it went for hours on end, until suddenly we heard the sound which turns any sapper's blood to ice.
Shh.
Poor Harry. The moment he heard that sound, he closed up like an oyster, rocking back and forth, his eyes pressed shut. No amount of shoving or urgent whisper could dislodge him. He was rooted to the spot, immovable as a boulder. So it fell to me to carry that hastily scribbled note to the tunnel mouth, where a fellow sapper filled out the queer grocery list, consisting of a hand auger, a spool of wire, and a pair of long, narrow metal cylinders. At the tunnel face, I watched in confusion as Tom and Dick silently drilled 2 long boreholes into the rock, into which they inserted the wired cylinders. It was not until we retreated to the tunnel mouth and I saw Dick connect the wires to an exploder box that I realized to my horror what was about to occur. Are those?
Shh! Here they come. Now! Here come his friends. Now! Ha, 2 for 2, Fritz.
No!
Dot, where are you going? Dot, come back!
What's going on here? Private, why aren't you at your post?
Sorry, sir.
Stretcher bearer?
Come on, get his head.
That's right. Come on, hello. Right, same down there. Get his tunic open.
Ah! No, no.
Oh, no, hold on. It's all right. It's me, Dennis. You're all right. Come on. He's all right. Sorry about this. It's his first day. Come on, let's get you back to your billet. I bloody told you, Dot. I told you weren't up for it. You could have gotten us all killed.
You're lecturing me about getting people killed. That was the most cold-blooded, barbarous thing I've ever seen. They were a rescue party, for God's sake.
This is war, Dot. What the hell do you think we were gonna do? Let them go so that they can come and blow us up another day? Down there, it's kill or be killed. And you can't get all hysterical about it.
Hysterical? What about Harry? He's at the end of his nerves, it's plain as day.
Ugh, Harry knows what he's doing. He's been underground longer than the rest of us have. But you? No more. You ain't going down there again, and that's an order.
Oh, is it now?
Damn right it is! We may not give a damn about rank down there in the saps, but up here, it's Sergeant Thomas Dunn. Thank you very much. And I'm giving you a direct order, Private Smith, to stay here. Do some cleaning, write up your newspaper articles, I don't care. But you stay here, or you get on that bicycle of yours and you pedal back to London. You got it? Look, Dot, you've got spirit. I'll give you that. But spirit won't save you down there. It's luck, and it runs out fast. I mean, you want to write your story? We can't do that if you're buried 100 feet underground, can you? Like I said, stay here as long as you like. Bring you food and whatnot. And if you want to ask the other lads questions, I can bring them round. I'll check on you after my shift.
No, that's it. Oh, to hell with it. By the next day, the tunnel had been completed, and a large chamber carved out directly beneath the enemy trench. Into this the sappers stacked box after box of aminal explosive. Each box passed man to man down the tunnel, like an enormous bucket brigade. Quietly, I took my place in the chain, and the slow trickle of death carried on unabated.
Dot? What are you doing down here? Get up top.
I'm fine, Tom. Just like I...
Christ, just what we need. Dot, get out of here before you get us all killed. Oh, Christ.
Tom, we've got to get the torpedoes down here fast.
Oh, Christ, she's fainted again. Harry, you've got to get Dot out of here. You understand? Harry, snap out of it. You've got to get Dot to the surface.
It's all right. You get her out. Give me a revolver.
No. We've all got to get out of here.
What, and let Fritz destroy 5 months of work? Not on my watch.
Right. Thanks. Sorry I ever called you punts.
I'll drink to that later. Now go.
Come on, Dot. Let's get you out of here. Come on. All right. Okay. You're okay. You're right, Dot. Dick! Get a rescue party together! Harry! You gotta take care of her, yeah? I'm going in.
No. You stay. I'll go.
Right, okay.
Dick! Are you still alive? Dick!
Boy, think he's at it. Hey, what's that over there?
Oh, looks like... Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh,
hey,
God.
Wait,
oh,
come
God.
back.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh.
You! What are you doing? Pull yourself together, man! Get back to your post! You hear me? Is there another man down there? You two, take this man to my dugout. He's under arrest. Sergeant, is that man all right?
Yes, sir. He's just fainted. Look, you're gonna be all right, Dot. Okay, stay here. I'll be back.
When I came to some time later, I found myself alone, lying on the trench floor. Though I did not learn until later what had transpired in my absence, it was clear that I could no longer carry on this charade of mine. If again I were laid out by faintness, or knocked out by Fritz in the trenches, there is no doubt my sex would become known. And what then would happen to my little army of khaki accomplices? I thus decided there and then to bring my little adventure to an end.
Yes, hello, sir. It's Mosley. Yes, sir, I'm transferring a prisoner to HQ for court-martial. Cowardice, sir. Corporal Harry Stoker, Royal Engineers, Leicestershires. Yes, sir. Countermining. We lost BSAP. That will set us back at least a week. What? I see. Very good, sir. I shall revise my orders. Yes, I agree. Good to set an example before the big show. Yes, what is it? What? You again? What do you want, Private?
I've come to turn myself in, sir.
So you are a deserter. I knew you didn't sound like a Leicester man.
Not exactly, sir.
Private, what are you doing? Why are you taking off your... Good God.
The next 2 days found me bouncing back and forth like a shuttlecock through an endless procession of dugouts, farmhouses, and chateaux. Everywhere I went, my presence caused a stir. No one seemed to know quite what to make of me. This little khaki-clad girl, tossed into their midst, had shattered their ordered martial world as surely as a grenade. These august men, stoic in the face of shells, gas, and mass slaughter, were reduced to vexed schoolboys, their immediate concern being to find me some decent clothes. At long last, I reached Third Army headquarters at Saint-Omer. By this time I had purged from my effects all documents which could connect me to my khaki accomplices. Dear me, if the authorities discovered the full total involved, I'd be responsible for bringing my little army to irretrievable disgrace. Only later did I realize how splendidly these men had behaved. Rough soldiers, away from civilization, surrounded only by the coarsening influence of war. Yet no one harmed this fool of an English girl. Why each man contributed his share, I do not know. Whatever the reason, I vowed that whatever happened, I would never betray them. Round 3, is it? Sorry, I've lost count.
State your full name.
Dennis Smith.
State your full name.
Dorothy Lawrence?
Your full name.
Dorothy Elizabeth Lawrence.
Place and date of birth.
October 4, 1896, Hendon, Middlesex.
Who is your handler?
My what?
Your handler.
Oh, my employer. Well, none at the moment. My last would have been Roger Bailey.
Roger Bailey. Occupation?
Editor, London Gazette.
London Gazette. To whom do you report?
Oh, to anyone, really.
Anyone?
Well, anyone who will pay. I'm freelance, you see.
What was your mission?
To report on the front.
What information were you to gather?
Anything.
Anything?
Well, anything I came along, you know. How the boys are doing over here, what life is like in the trenches, that sort of thing.
Who were your contacts?
Contacts?
Who assisted you in your mission?
Nobody.
Nobody?
No, I was alone.
Who provided your uniform?
I stole it from the supply depot in Albert.
And your papers?
I stole those too.
Private Dennis Smith of Leicester. We have no record of such an individual in His Majesty's Armed Forces. So, I ask again, who supplied your papers?
Well, I suppose you had better double-check your records, then.
Let me be clear, Miss Lawrence. Espionage carries a sentence of death, theft of His Majesty's property, 5 years imprisonment. It is in your best interest to answer my questions.
Espionage? Goodness me, of course I'm not a spy.
Who supplied your papers?
Well, Private Dennis Smith, of course. You could ask him, but I dare say you'd better find a shovel.
Are you all right, miss?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, you seem to be doing all right. Giving SI the old what for? Sorry about these quarters, by the way. We don't have accommodations for ladies.
It's perfectly comfortable, actually. Believe me, I've had to make do with far worse.
Can I get you anything? A cup of tea?
Oh, that would be lovely, thank you.
Anyhow, you have caused excitement. They're talking about you up and down the line. Boys are chomping at the bit to meet you. But there's only one thing I wonder.
Oh?
How come you aren't married yet?
I beg your pardon?
I mean, a spirited girl like you. I'd think plenty of lads would want someone like that waiting at home for them. And you wouldn't have to go running around the front in disguise to get your supper. Anyway, I'm supposed to be keeping guard outside. Let me know if you need anything else.
So, what happens now?
I don't know. I don't think anyone does. But don't worry, once you've been past SI, you've been through the worst.
The Secretary will record that this Court of Inquiry is now in session. The accused will rise and state their full name for the record.
Dorothy Elizabeth Lawrence.
Corporal Harry Michael Stoker, sir. 1st Leicestershire, Royal Engineer.
You stand accused of cowardice and dereliction of duty,
espionage, sedition, theft of government property, and impersonating a member of His Majesty's Armed Forces.
How do you plead?
Not guilty.
How long have you been engaging in this conduct?
A week? 10 days, actually.
Never, sir. Just this time.
So you admit to deliberately violating military regulations?
No, sir. You see, as soon as the tunnel blew, I put on a proto. I went right in, sir. Like we were supposed to. But when we got to the face...
Yes?
It was Dick, sir. It was like bully beef. It was like bully beef everywhere.
Stop laughing! Corporal, pull yourself together. This is conduct unbefitting a soldier of the king.
Are you aware that we are on the eve of a major operation?
Yes.
Do you understand that your actions could have jeopardized this operation?
Well, I wouldn't go so far as that.
No, sir. But it wasn't like that.
Quiet! Answer the question! Stop at this instant! Are you refusing to answer the question? Do you think this is a joke?
There must have been something wrong with the proto, sir. I couldn't breathe. I had to get back up. If I'd have gone down there, I had have been no good to nobody.
I have a statement here from Lieutenant Mosley claiming he inspected the breathing set in question and found it to be in perfect working order. Why then did you desert your post?
I have an interrogation report here from Special Intelligence claiming that you acted alone. Why did you embark on such a venture?
I don't know. Curiosity, I suppose.
Miss Lawrence, do you consider yourself of sound mind and judgment?
Corporal Stoker, do you consider yourself fit for duty?
Well, yes, obviously.
Yes, sir. I had never cracked up before. I swear, it'll never happen again.
Obviously not. Your actions are unbecoming of a lady and a disgrace to the British Army and your country. They could well be classified as treason.
Yes, your file does show a perfect service record.
As no evidence can be found of intent to commit espionage, and on the account of the inherent frailty of your sex and your demonstrable lack of judgment, this court acquits you of all formal charges. You will be held in custody until such time as it is determined that the information you have gathered can no longer jeopardize future military operations.
Still, a coward in the ranks is like a rotten apple in a basket. It can't be unspoiled, and if it isn't removed, it'll spoil the whole bunch. Cowardice is a disease, and it can run rampant down the line. Something we can ill afford, especially this close to a major operation. This court finds you guilty of cowardice and desertion, and sentences you to death. You will be executed by firing squad at dawn. This court is adjourned.
But what?
next day I was driven to my final prison. I had imagined many ends to my journey, but in the event it was to be convent life, perhaps for the duration. Horrors! Thus confined, and with a set of dresses at last procured, the generals could sleep easy, knowing their troublesome little prisoner was finally in her proper place. After 3 days, the constant rumble of the heavy guns at last fell silent, giving way to an ecstasy of cracking rifles and machine guns. By night, the sky was lit in brilliant reds and greens of falling star shells like Guy Fawkes night. What heroic assaults, I wondered. What glorious deeds were being performed just over that horizon.
Battle of Luz, September 25th, 1915. There's horrors down in the saps. Nothing like seeing the lads advancing across that open ground, naked as babes. General Haig tried convincing the Frenchies that it weren't no good for an attack, or collieries and slag heaps. A real killing ground. And with BSAP blown, they couldn't get another mine laid in time. But HQ figured they had something better. Gas. Same as Fritz used at Wipers. Give them a taste of their own medicine, they said. After the opening barrage, that gas would smother any Huns left standing. It would be a walkover, they said. Well, right from the start it all went wrong. The wind had been blowing strong towards the German lines all morning, but as soon as they cracked open those gas cylinders, it did a full about face. I was watching from a command post when the cloud came creeping back over the fire trench. Like some great green monster. I could hear the lads choking and gasping. You know what gas does to you, right? You drown. Imagine that. Most of these lads hadn't even seen the sea until they crossed the channel. And there they were, drowning on dry land. Not that the rest of them had it any better. I mean, the barrage was supposed to cut the wire, but they loaded the guns with shrapnel instead of HG. The lads that did manage to get past the guns got stopped dead in their tracks, and the wires picked off one by one. 4 days of fighting before they pulled them out, right back to where they started. 20,000 men and not an inch of ground won. 20,000 men hanging on the old barbed wire.
At last, the guns fell silent, and still no one came for me. As the days dragged on, I wondered if I had been forgotten, locked away in a tower, without even a loom to weave on. I was getting half sick of shadows. What's this?
Official Secrets Act. By signing this, you agree not to divulge any details of your activities on the front without express written permission from the War Ministry.
And then?
Then you can go home.
Before you go, miss, thought you might like these back. Souvenir.
Thank you.
Come on, then. Let's get you home.
That afternoon, I was driven to Boulogne and boarded my ferry to freedom. Freedom. It was not until I reached London that I realized what a queer freedom it was. Oh, how I regretted signing those papers. As a girl compelled to earn her livelihood, in making that promise, I sacrificed any chance of profiting from newspaper articles written on this escapade. But no matter. I had survived nearly 2 months near the front, a claim thousands upon thousands of menfolk cannot make. Surely I could survive in London. So I went on my way, at home without a home. For a writer, it was an agonizing 3 years to be silenced. But I made do as I always did. Roger was right. No other paper would have me. So, forced by circumstance into conventionality, I toiled by day in the Women's Land Army. By night, I wrote out the memoir which I hoped would make my name. Though it might be sacrilege to say so, I think none was more relieved than I when the armistice was declared. At last, I was free to tell my story.
Miss Lawrence, we have reviewed your manuscript and found it to fall short of the standards of this publishing house.
Miss Lawrence, we are not in the business of publishing fiction. Perhaps another publishing house would be more suitable. Miss Lawrence, we regret to inform you that we must reject your manuscript. In addition to being preposterous, it is an insult to the bravery and dignity of our troops.
Oh.
Dear Miss Lawrence, I am writing in regards to your manuscript. While quite unorthodox and outside the realm of our typical publications, we believe it to have merit and would be interested in printing a limited run. Please respond at your earliest convenience. Miss Lawrence, you can come in now. What can I do for you?
Well, it's about the royalties checks.
Yes, what about them?
Well, there haven't been any. It's been 6 months, as you know, and I just wanted to make sure there hadn't been some mistake with my address or something.
No mistake. I'm sorry to tell you this, Miss Lawrence, but we've only sold 63 copies so far.
What? But how can that be? Surely a story like this should be sensational, scandalous even. Haven't you been promoting it?
Of course we have, as much as any of our other titles.
Well, then why?
In this business, tastes change like the wind. The war is over. People don't want to read about it. They want to move on with their lives. Oh, you aren't the only one, believe me. Nobody's moving war books these days.
Well, then perhaps we should take another strategy. Don't sell it as a war book. Sell it as an adventure yarn. Those are doing well today, aren't they?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Lawrence, but there's nothing more I can do. The book just won't sell. I'm afraid that's all there is to it.
Please, look, I'm rather behind on my rent at the moment. Perhaps you could advance me a few pounds until sales pick up again. They're bound to, I'm sure. As you said, tastes change like the wind. Please, you've no idea what I went through to write it.
That's none of my concern, Miss Lawrence. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a rather busy afternoon.
Yes?
Yes, I'm here to apply for my military pension.
Oh, for your husband, of course, right. Name, date of birth, serial number...
No, for myself.
I beg your pardon? Land, army, and munitions work isn't covered by military pension, miss.
I'm afraid you don't understand. I fought in the trenches, you see. At Albert. Here are my papers. Private Dennis Smith, 1st Leicestershires.
Miss, if this is supposed to be some kind of a joke, then I'm not...
Yes, I know it's hard to tell with the hair and the uniform, but that's me, all right. Surely you have me in your records. Dorothy Lawrence. Lawrence with a W.
Miss.
You can ask Sergeant Thomas Dunn in Leicester. Here, I have a letter he wrote me.
Miss, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, or I will have you escorted
See,
off...
it's all there. If you would just take a moment to look in your records, I'm sure you'd find me clear as day. Just go back there and... No, get your hands off of me. No, let me go. No, you can't. I'm not. No! I'd been through hours of interrogation in France. But give me 1,000 more before another minute with a psychiatrist. Give me all the tortures of the Inquisition. They pale against his talking cure. In his mouth, your every word is twisted round and spat out against you. Up becomes down, left becomes right, and before long, you've forgotten quite who you are. To Caesar, all roads lead to Rome. To the psychiatrist, all answers point to madness. It was only a matter of time, really, before I told him about Bishop Wallace. Lord knows I didn't want to. I'm not that kind of girl, and it was such a long time ago. But what choice did I have? Everyone knows we are incapable of acting on our own will. If we are possessed of some fool notion, surely someone must have placed it there. It felt like barbed wire being drawn out of my throat. And when I was done, do you know what he did? He laughed in my face, as if I'd told a rollicking good joke. Balderdash, he said. Slander. How could a man of the cloth, a pillar of society, possibly do something like that? Madness. Madness! After all I'd been through, the 6 impossible things I'd done before breakfast, this is what I am committed for. But that's always how it is, isn't it? 20,000 men at lose, and they let General Haig try again. What on earth are you laughing at?
You tell a good story, love, but you really expect me to believe all that?
But it's true, every word.
What? You got a small army of men waiting on you hand and foot, and you didn't give them nothing in return? I'd sooner believe you was Joan of Arc. The doctors was right. I bet your fainting spells weren't the only time you spent on your back.
You take that back this instant. I did nothing of the sort. They were all good men.
Oh, come on. Soldiers ain't nothing but dogs, a lot of 'em. Won't do nothing for you lest you make 'em stand at attention. Except for my little Blackie, of course. He was always a proper gentleman.
Blackie?
Oh, just my little name for him. Day we first met, you see, he'd just come up from the coal pit, face still black as death. Well, he sees me at market and thinks, well, here's the girl for me. So here he comes a-running after me. And well, can you imagine? Now, you've probably heard us girls from North Country ain't nothing to trifle with. And I can tell you I gave him a good walloping. Since then, he's been my Blackie, and I'm his hellion. Thought he was right clever coming up with that. What's the matter with you now? You having a fit or something?
Well, here's to death wishes.
Right then. Best get off to bed. Next shift's in 4 hours.
Right. Miss Lawrence, a pleasure. See you down in the saps.
Good night, Todd.
Good night. Shouldn't you be off as well, Harry? I expect your shift will be starting soon.
Actually, miss, there was something I was wondering you might help me out with. You're good with words, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, it's my wife, you see. She'll be worried sick. I've been sending her those standard letters, you know, the ones where you fill in all the blanks. But I wanted to write her something more personal-like, so she knows it's me. But you see, I can't. Well, not well, anyway.
Of course. Go ahead.
My little Helene. Long story. I'm sorry I haven't been able to write you properly, but now I've found a helpful lad to write my words down for me. What to say? What I've seen here is beyond anything I've ever imagined. And it'd take a lifetime to tell you all about it. But as I mean to spend that lifetime with you, I guess there'll be time. Oh, never mind. It's awful. I never was good with words.
No, it's lovely. Keep going.
All right. There was plenty to be scared of on the coalface. But not like this. It's enough to make the hardest man crack. But don't you worry. I'm doing all right. Have you heard that new song? Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag. Yeah, I like to sing it. Well, every time I go underground, that's what I do. Pack up everything I don't need in my bag. I don't take it with me. All I take down is that photo of you. You remember? The time we went to Brighton? I keep it in my tunic pocket. That way, no matter how close to hell I get, I always have a piece of heaven close to me heart.
Harry, That's beautiful.
You don't have to be nice, miss.
No, I mean it. It's a wonder they haven't picked you up as an official war poet. And now, to close?
If I can fight as hard as you do every day, and I'll be home before you know it, and I'll take you to Brighton again. Hold me, love. You little blackie.
There. I think she'll be overjoyed to hear from you.
I don't quite know how to thank you, miss.
Well, you could answer something for me.
Miss?
Why did you join up?
Well, I come up from the coalface one day, and the young lady hands me this.
A white feather? Oh, Harry, no.
Good night, miss.
You sure you're alright? You look like you've seen the second coming itself.
Helen, what's your married name?
Why the hell do you want to know that?
Please.
Well, for a reporter, you don't pick up on much, do you? It's Stoker. Thank you very much.
Helen, I don't know quite how to put this, but...
But what? Spit out.
Your Harry's dead.
Harry! Dead! You are a funny one. You sound just like those bloody doctors. For all their fancy learning, they can't see a foot in front of their noses, I tell you. I can't wait till my Harry comes to get me. Imagine the look on their faces when he walks through the door.
I'm sorry, he's not coming to get you.
The hell is wrong with you? It's one thing listening to your never-ending yarns or your god-awful caterwauling, but if this is some kind of joke, it ain't funny.
I wish it were a joke, believe me.
Bollocks. And even if he was, what would you know about it?
I saw it. They did it against the barn, out behind the convent. I could see the whole thing out my cell window. 3 men with rifles marched him up to the wall, hands bound behind his back. They pinned a white bit of cloth over his heart. Then the officer came up, holding a blindfold.
I'd like to be able to see my mates, if it's all the same.
Cigarette?
No, thank you, sir.
Chin up, lad. It'll all be over soon.
I know we haven't used those since basic training. Try and shoot straight, will ya? Don't make a mess of it. Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile.
Firing party, present!
While you've a Lucifer to light your fag.
Aim!
Smile, boys, that's the style.
Fire!
You shut your filthy, lying mouth!
I'm sorry, I swear. I wish I hadn't seen
You
it.
filthy, lying whore! I'm going to scream! How do you like that? Scream bloody murder! And then the doctors will come and slice you up real good! Gut you like a fish! How dare you! My Harry were no coward! He was as brave as any of them!
I know he was. There. It's all right. I looked her up after I came back. Joan of Arc. They didn't burn her for witchcraft, you know. Not even for leading an army. You know what they did it for? Wearing men's clothes. It's not fair, is it? What chance have we lambs when even lions can't be seen to stumble?
Oh, it's a shame to take the pain. As soon as Reveille is gone, we feel just as heavy as lead. But we never get up to the salt and brings the breakfast up to bed. Oh, it's a lovely war.
This has been The Sport of the Engineer, starring Virginia McLean as Dorothy Lawrence, K.B. Greenhill as Helen Stoker and Emmeline Pankhurst. Jacques Leger as Dr. Sykes, khaki accomplice number 2, Thomas Dunn, War Ministry clerk, and Harry Stoker. Karam Daoud as Paul, Mayor Goupil. Lieutenant Mosley, SI officer, General number 2, and publisher. Monica Fultonheim as Jeanne, khaki accomplice number 1, Albert soldier, and guard. And Gilles Messier as Roger Bailey, Pierre, Jacques, Gendarme, Richard Cox, and General number 1.